The door flew open like a gunshot in the dead of night, and there I was, frozen, hands still wrapped around myself, the glow of my laptop screen betraying every frantic breath. Alan's eyes locked onto mine, wide as saucers, his gym bag slipping from his shoulder to thud against the worn hardwood floor of our cramped Brooklyn apartment. "Leo? What the holy shit? Man, I didn't mean," he stammered, but the damage was done, the air thick with the raw humiliation that hit me like a sucker punch to the gut. I yanked the blanket up, heart slamming against my ribs, my face burning hotter than the July asphalt outside our window. We'd been roommates for 6 months. Ever since I transferred to NYU chasing some half-baked dream of graphic design in the city that never sleeps. But in that split second, every casual high five, every late-night pizza run, felt like a lie crumbling under the weight of exposure. Alan just stood there, his broad shoulders filling the doorway, that stupid Yankees cap tilted back on his messy blonde hair. And for the life of me, I couldn't tell if he was horrified or something else. "Get out," I finally choked, voice cracking like a teenager's, but he didn't budge. Instead, he closed the door softly behind him, the click echoing like a verdict. The room smelled of stale takeout and my own desperation, the fan whirring lazily overhead doing nothing to cut the tension. Alan rubbed the back of his neck, that nervous tic he had when his construction job interviews went south, and muttered, "Look, dude, it's not. I mean, everyone's got their thing. I ain't judging," but his gaze lingered a beat too long on the rumpled sheets, on the paused video still flickering with its forbidden promises. And I swear, in the dim light from the street lamp bleeding through the blinds, I saw a flicker of curiosity that twisted my stomach into knots. That night, sleep was a lost cause. I lay there staring at the water-stained ceiling, replaying the moment on loop, the way Alan's Adam's apple bobbed when he swallowed hard, the faint scent of his post-gym sweat mixing with the city's endless hum of sirens and chatter. Alan was the all-American type, 24, from some suburb outside Philly, with a laugh that could fill a dive bar and arms built from hauling rebar all day. Me, Leo Ramirez, 22, first-gen Mexican-American scraping by on student loans and freelance gigs, hiding behind hoodies and sarcasm because coming out in my family back in Queens would have been like lighting a match in a powder keg. Porn was my secret escape. Yeah, gay stuff, the kind that let me pretend vulnerability didn't come with a side of exile. But now, Alan knew. And worse, he didn't run. Morning hit like a hangover without the fun. I dragged myself to the kitchenette, our apartment, more like a shoebox in Bushwick, with its peeling wallpaper and the neighbor's reggaeton thumping through the walls at ungodly hours. Alan was already up, flipping pancakes on our ancient hot plate, humming some Bruce Springsteen tune off-key. He slid a plate my way without a word, syrup dripping like an apology. "About last night," he started, not meeting my eyes as he poured coffee black as tar. "Forget it, all right? Water under the bridge. We're brothers, brothers." The word landed like a brick. I nodded, shoving a forkful into my mouth, the sweetness cloying against the bile rising in my throat. But as he rambled about his shift at the site, something about a delayed permit and his boss being a prick, I caught him stealing glances, quick darts that made my skin prickle. Was it pity, disgust masked as chill, or God forbid, pity disguised as interest? Alan dated girls, or at least that's what his Instagram stories screamed. Beach volleyball with sorority types, tailgates with the boys. Straight as the Verrazano, I figured. Yet here we were, The air between us charged like the storm clouds rolling in over the East River. Classes that day blurred into a haze. I sketched aimlessly in my digital art lab, lines bleeding into abstract shapes that screamed frustration. By evening, the rain had started, a relentless New York downpour that turned the sidewalks into rivers and our commute into a gauntlet of dodging umbrellas and cursing cabs. I got back soaked to the bone, key fumbling in the lock, only to find Alan sprawled on the couch we'd salvaged from Craigslist, a beer in hand and some cop show droning on the TV. "Rough one?" he asked, tossing me a towel without looking up. "Yeah," I muttered, peeling off my shirt and toweling my hair, hyper-aware of his peripheral vision. The room felt smaller, the space between us a minefield. I grabbed a beer from the mini-fridge, cracking it open with more force than necessary, and dropped onto the opposite end of the couch. Silence stretched, broken only by the rain pattering against the fire escape. Then, out of nowhere, "What was that video? Anyway, if you don't mind me asking." My beer paused halfway to my lips. Heat flooded my face again, but this time mixed with a defiant spark. "Why, you want to borrow it?" The sarcasm was my armor, but it came out sharper than intended. Alan's chuckle was low, surprised. He turned. Those blue eyes, wait, were they always that piercing? Fixing on me with an intensity that made my pulse stutter. "Nah, man. Just curious. Never seen you bring anyone around. Figured maybe you're..." He trailed off, gesturing vaguely, like he was defusing a bomb. "Gay," I supplied, the word hanging heavy, tasting like freedom and fear all at once. It was the first time I'd said it aloud in this place, to anyone who mattered. Alan didn't flinch. Instead, he nodded slowly, like he'd known all along. "Cool. That's cool." He took a swig, then set the bottle down with purpose. "Look, Leo, life's too short for bullshit. My cousin's gay came out last year. Family went nuclear at first, but now they're tighter than ever. Point is, you don't gotta hide here. This is your spot too." His words cracked something in me, a dam I'd built brick by brick since high school lockers and whispered slurs. I swallowed hard, the beer bitter on my tongue. "Thanks," I managed, voice thick. "Means a lot." We watched the rest of the episode in companionable quiet, but the shift was palpable, like the air after thunder, expectant. When the credits rolled, Alan stretched, his shirt riding up to reveal a sliver of tanned abs, and I looked away too late. He caught it, smirked faintly. "Wanna grab wings at that dive on Knickerbocker? My treat." "Brothers' night." I laughed, the sound rusty but real. "Yeah. Brothers' night." The bar was a haze of neon and grease, packed with locals nursing drafts and yelling at the Jumbotron. We claimed a sticky booth, plates piled high with buffalo-sauced glory, and for a while, it was easy stories about his wild Philly summers, my abuela's tamales that could cure cancer or cause it, depending on the day. Laughter flowed freer than the cheap beer, and when our knees brushed under the table, neither of us pulled away. By last call, the rain had eased to a drizzle, the streets gleaming under sodium lights. We stumbled home arm in sling, Alan's weight warm against my side, his breath fogging the air with hints of hops and spice. At the door, he paused, key in hand, turning to me with that half-smile that suddenly felt dangerous. "Hey, Leo, thanks for not freaking out on me earlier. You're You're good people. You too, I whispered, the words catching as his hand lingered on my shoulder, thumb brushing my collarbone in a way that sent sparks skittering down my spine. Then he was inside, door clicking shut, leaving me in the hall with a heart racing toward something I couldn't name. That night, as I lay in the dark, the wall between our beds felt thinner than ever. Whispers of what-ifs danced in my head. Alan's laugh, his touch, the way his eyes had held mine like a promise. Sleep came fitful, dreams tangled with rain and revelation, and when dawn crept in, I woke to the smell of coffee, wondering if I'd imagined the shift or if we'd just cracked open a door neither of us could close. But life in the city doesn't pause for epiphanies. The next week blurred into a grind. My portfolio deadlines looming like storm fronts, Alan's overtime shifts leaving him bone-tired and grease-streaked. We fell into a rhythm, though easy mornings over toast, evenings unwinding with bad movies and better banter. Yet the undercurrent hummed, electric. A shared glance over breakfast, his foot nudging mine during a Knicks game on TV. Small things, building like pressure in a fault line. One Friday, it snapped. Alan burst in early, drenched from a site washout, stripping off his soaked tee right there in the living room. Water sluiced down his chest, tracing paths over muscles honed by labor, and I, stupid, staring, froze mid-bite of my sandwich. He caught me, towel slung low on his hips, and instead of the usual bro joke, his expression darkened, intent. "Leo," he said, voice rough as gravel, stepping closer until the heat of him invaded my space. That night, it got me thinking, my breath hitched. Thinking what? He reached out, fingers grazing my jaw, calluses rough against my skin. About you. About us. And then he kissed me, tentative at first, tasting of rain and regret, then deepening as I melted into it, hands fisting his damp hair. The world narrowed to that point of contact. Fireworks exploding behind my eyelids, every doubt incinerated in the blaze. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed together. "Is this real?" I murmured, terrified of the answer. Alan's grin was wicked, vulnerable. As real as it gets. City boy, in that moment, tangled on the couch as thunder rumbled outside. Brooklyn felt less like a battleground and more like home. But secrets, like storms, have a way of circling back. The days that followed were a fever dream, the kind where reality blurs at the edges and every touch feels like a revelation. Alan and I didn't label it, not yet, but we didn't have to. It was in the way he'd pull me into the shower after his shifts, steam curling around us like a veil, his hands mapping my body with the reverence of a man discovering scripture. "You're beautiful. You know that?" He'd murmur against my neck, water cascading over us, washing away the grime of his day and the ghosts of my doubts. I'd laugh it off, American bravado kicking in. Flattery gets you everywhere, construction boy. But inside, it unraveled me, thread by thread. Our apartment transformed into a cocoon, the outside world reduced to the muffled roar of the L train and the occasional knock from the super about the leaky faucet. We'd cook together, me teaching him to roll perfect enchiladas, him showing off his grandma's cheesesteak recipe that involved way too much provolone. Nights bled into lazy Sundays, bodies entwined under threadbare sheets, whispering futures we had no business planning. Alan talked about buying a place upstate someday, away from the city's grind, with a yard for barbecues and space to breathe. I traced the freckles on his shoulder, imagining it, us, unapologetic, building something real amid the maple trees. But cracks spiderwebbed early. Alan's phone would buzz during our quiet moments. Texts from the guys at work, invites to sports bars where the air reeked of machismo and Miller Lite. He'd glance at them, then at me, a shadow crossing his face. "Gotta keep up appearances," he'd say, punching my arm like it was nothing. But it stung, a reminder that our bubble was just that, fragile, floating, one prick from bursting. My own shadows loomed larger. A call from Mommy one evening, her voice tinny through the receiver, fretting about my lonely city life. I lied smoothly, told her about a fake study group girlfriend, the words souring in my mouth. Hanging up, I found Alan watching from the kitchen, arms crossed, jaw tight. "You don't have to do that," he said softly. "Not with me. It's not that simple," I shot back, frustration bubbling. "You think my family's gonna throw a pride parade if I bring home a guy? Abuela still crosses herself at rainbows." We argued then, voices low but sharp, the first real fracture. He stormed out for a run, returning hours later with sweat-slicked apologies and make-up kisses that tasted like salt. Still, the pull was magnetic. One weekend, we escaped to Coney Island, the boardwalk alive with summer's dying gasps, screams from the cyclone roller coaster, the sizzle of Nathan's hot dogs, seagulls wheeling over the Atlantic like freedom scouts. Alan won me a stuffed cyclone bear at the ring toss, his competitive grin boyish and bright. We walked the sand as dusk fell, waves lapping at our bare feet, his hand slipping into mine when no one was looking. "This," he said, gesturing to the horizon, "this is what I want. You and me, against the tide." I believed him. God, how I believed him. That night, back in Bushwick, we made love with a desperation born of that promise, slow, then urgent, bodies speaking what words couldn't. Afterward, curled against his chest, his heartbeat a steady drum under my ear, I felt invincible. Loved, even. The word hovered unspoken, but it was there, heavy as the humid air. Then came the invitation that upended everything. Alan's old college buddy, Jake, was in town, some finance bro from Wall Street, all slick suits and trust fund swagger. "Throwing a thing at this rooftop in Manhattan," Alan said over breakfast, scrolling his phone. "You should come. Meet the crew." My stomach nodded. "Your crew? Like the straight-laced Philly boys who think Metro is a slur?" He winced, but pressed on. "Come on, Leo. It's time. Show 'em we're solid." There was an edge to his voice, plea wrapped in challenge. Caved, because saying no felt like admitting defeat. The party was everything I dreaded. Skyline views that screamed money, craft cocktails in coupes, women in LBDs laughing too loud at men's tepid jokes. Alan fit right in, his easy charm turning heads, but I hovered at the edges, nursing a gin and tonic, feeling like an exhibit in a zoo. Jake clapped Alan on the back, slurring, still chasing tail. Remember that sorority mixer, man? You were a legend." Alan laughed it off, but his eyes sought mine across the crowd, apologetic. It escalated when a tipsy brunette, Sarah, Jake's colleague, sidled up to Alan, her hand lingering on his arm. "Haven't seen you since that Hamptons weekend," she purred, voice laced with history. Alan extricated politely, But the seed was planted. Whispers followed us home in the cab. Who's the quiet one? Alan's new intern or something? In our apartment, the silence was deafening. I stripped down wordlessly, heading for the shower, but Alan followed, crowding in behind me. "Hey," he murmured, hands on my hips, turning me to face him. "That wasn't. She's nobody. You know that." I searched his eyes, water blurring the lines. "Do I? Or am I just the dirty little secret keeping your rep intact?" His face crumpled, and he kissed me fierce, like he could erase the doubt with friction. "Never," he growled against my lips. "You're everything." We tumbled to bed, reclaiming each other in the dark, but the afterglow soured quick. Alan's phone lit up again. "Jake. Dude. That guy? What's his deal? Roomie?" Alan silenced it, but the damage lingered, a bruise blooming under the skin. Fall semester ramped up, pulling me deeper into critiques and all-nighters, while Alan's crew grew insistent. Tailgates, poker nights, the kind of bro-code events where +1 meant a girl on your arm. He started going solo more, coming home late with excuses that rang hollow. Traffic was a bitch. I'd lie awake, the bed cold on his side, jealousy gnawing like termites in old wood. One night, after a particularly brutal day, prof tearing my thesis apart, rain turning the subway into a sardine can, I came home to find Alan on the couch, head in hands, a half-empty whiskey bottle beside him. "What's wrong?" I asked, dropping my bag, dread pooling. He looked up, eyes red-rimmed. "Called home. Told my folks about us." The words hung, a grenade with the pin pulled. My heart seized. "And," Ma cried. "Dad." He said some shit. About sin. About me throwing away everything for a phase. His voice broke, and he scrubbed his face. "But they still love me. Said we'd talk more. It's gonna be okay." I pulled him close, holding him as sobs racked his frame. The big, unbreakable Alan reduced to this. "I'm proud of you," I whispered, meaning it. In that vulnerability, our bond deepened, forged in shared fire. But fire leaves scars. A week later, I overheard him on the phone with Jake, laughing too loud. "Nah, man, Leo's just a roommate. Solid dude. But you know me, girls only." The knife twisted slow, betrayal's cold edge. He hung up, saw me in the doorway, and the color drained from his face. "Leo, wait, you lying sack," I spat, voice venomous. "A phase? Just a roommate? What the fuck? Alan?" He reached for me, desperate. "It's not like that." I had to keep him off my back. "Jake's an asshole. He'd out me to everyone. Or maybe you're ashamed." I hurled, the truth I'd buried clawing free. "Maybe this, us, is just your walk on the wild side before you settle down with Sarah 2.0. The slap of my words echoed. Alan recoiled, hurt flashing raw. "You think that's it? After everything?" He grabbed his jacket, storming out into the night, door slamming like finality. I sank to the floor, tears hot and unbidden, the apartment echoing with ghosts of laughter now turned to ash. Hours ticked by, each one a judgment. When he returned at dawn, reeking of bar smoke and regret, we faced off in the kitchen, words flying like shrapnel. "I love you. Damn it," he confessed, voice raw. "But I'm scared, Leo. Scared of losing it all. And I'm scared of being your footnote, I countered, chest heaving. We collapsed into each other then. Apologies murmured into skin. Promises renewed in the fragile light of morning. But trust, once cracked, doesn't mend seamless. Held, for a while, walks in Prospect Park. Hands brushing leaves like old times. Stolen kisses in coffee shops, defiant against prying eyes. Alan started therapy, some queer-friendly spot in the village, coming home with stories of group shares that made him glow. Yet the city's underbelly whispered doubts. Graffiti on our building's wall one morning. Fags out, scrawled in red marker. Alan painted over it, jaw set, but I saw the flinch. My own family dinner loomed, Thanksgiving in Queens, where one wrong word could shatter the facade. I rehearsed lies in the mirror, Alan coaching me with gentle jabs. You're tougher than this, Ramirez. The holiday arrived crisp and golden, leaves carpeting the sidewalks like confetti for a parade I didn't join. Mommy's table groaned under turkey and pozole, uncles arguing politics over pie. Alan came as the roommate, charming abuela with tales of Philly cheesesteaks, but under the table, his foot hooked mine a lifeline. As we cleared plates, Tio Ramon cornered me in the kitchen. That gringo friend, decent guy? I nodded, throat tight, the half-truth a stone in my gut. Driving back, Alan's hand on my thigh, he said, "You did good." One step at a time. But in the rear view, I glimpsed the divide widening, his world pulling one way, mine another. Winter crept in, snow dusting the fire escape like powdered sugar on a bitter pill. Our love burned brighter in the cold, nights huddled under blankets, sharing heat and dreams, mornings with his coffee breath warm on my neck. But Jake's texts persisted, innocuous at first, then laced with barbs. Heard you're going soft. Oh. What's with the roomy vibes? Alan blocked him, but the poison seeped. It culminated on New Year's Eve, the city a riot of fireworks and false starts. We planned a quiet night champagne, a playlist of Springsteen and Bad Bunny, but Alan's phone rang insistent. "It's Dad," he said, answering with forced cheer. I watched his face fall, words muffled but tone thunderous. Disappointment, ultimatums. Fix this phase before it's too late. He hung up, shattering the glass in his fist, blood welling crimson. "Fuck them," he roared, but the pain was a living thing, coiling around us. I bandaged him in silence, the metallic tang sharp in the air. "We're worth it," I said, kissing his knuckles. "All of it." His eyes met mine, fierce and fractured. "Yeah, we are." As the ball dropped on TV, cheers erupting citywide, we toasted to us messy, real, unbreakable. But in the hush after, as snow fell soft outside, I wondered how long we could outrun the storm. Spring thawed the city slow, cherry blossoms unfurling along the paths of Central Park like hesitant promises, but our winter scars lingered, pink and tender. Alan threw himself into work, taking extra shifts to clear his head, coming home with shoulders slumped under invisible weight. I'd wait up, sketching by lamplight portraits of him now, capturing the curve of his jaw, the way his lashes cast shadows when he slept. Art was my therapy, pixels bleeding into confessions I couldn't voice. I see you breaking, and it terrifies me. One April afternoon, sunlight slanting gold through our window, I found him on the fire escape, staring at the skyline with a beer he hadn't touched. "Penny for your thoughts?" I teased, sliding the window up, joining him on the rusted metal perch. He handed me the bottle, his fingers brushing mine deliberate. Just wondering if I'm enough. For you. For this. His voice was gravel, the kind worn smooth by too many doubts. I set the beer aside, cupping his face. You're everything, Alan. The rest? Noise. We kissed there, perched above the bustle, the world a distant hum. It was perfect until his phone vibrated, shattering the spell. He ignored it, but 3 more buzzes followed, insistent as a heartbeat. Jake, I guessed, dread coiling. Alan sighed, pulling it out. Yeah. Says he's sorry. Wants to make it up. Group hang at the old spot. I stiffened. The one where he grilled you about me? He swears it's water under the bridge. Come on. Leo, trust me. Against my better judgment. I nodded. Forgiveness was the American way, right? Second chances, bootstraps, all that jazz. But as we walked into the dive that night, neon buzzing Luckies, air thick with fry oil and frat boy bravado, the knot in my gut tightened. Jake was all grins and backslaps, beers appearing like peace offerings. The crew, 4 guys from Alan's Penn State days, eyed me curious, but welcoming enough. Leo's the artist. Huh? Draw us something filthy. Laughter flowed. Easy at first. Stories of keg stands and road trips painting Alan in sepia tones of youth. I nursed my IPA, content in the periphery, until Jake leaned in during a lull, breath hot with hops. So, you and Al tight? Yeah. He talks about you nonstop. Like, nonstop. His wink was loaded, and my cheeks burned. Alan, sensing the vibe, slung an arm around my shoulders. Damn right. Leo's my rock. The crew hooted, toasting to bromance. But Jake's eyes narrowed, probing. It unraveled over pool, bets escalating, egos flaring. Jake sank the 8-ball too soon, owing Alan $50, and paid up with a quip. Fine, but only 'cause you're buying next round, for your boyfriend. The word dropped like a mic, silence crashing in. The crew froze, cues hovering, stares pinning us. Alan's arm dropped. What the hell? Man? Jake shrugged, feigning innocence. Come on. We all see it. The way you look at him? Not exactly bro energy. Laughter tittered nervous. But the damage was viral, phones out, whispers buzzing. I bolted for the bathroom, heart hammering, splashing water on my face in the grimy mirror. Alan followed, bursting in. Leo, ignore him. He's drunk, being a dick. But he's right, I said, meeting his gaze. They see it. Everyone will. He pulled me close, fierce. Let M. I'm done hiding, but his eyes flickered, fear, regret, and it hollowed me. We left early, the night air a slap of cool reality. Back home, anger simmered into passion, clothes shed in a frenzy, bodies colliding with urgent need. I choose you, Alan gasped, nails digging crescents into my back. Every time, dawn found us spent, tangled, but the seed of doubt had taken root. Jake's apology text came at noon. Shit, bro. Didn't mean to out you. Call it even? Alan deleted it, but the cruise group chat exploded, memes at first, then probing, wait, for real? Ale's gay. Alan muted it, but isolation crept in. Work buddies cooled. Invites dried up. He shrugged it off, their loss. But I saw him scroll old photos late at night, jaw clenched. My world tilted too. A gallery showcase loomed. My thesis exhibit on queer identity in urban spaces, ironic. Now, prep consumed me. Installations of fragmented mirrors reflecting distorted cityscapes. Audio loops of overheard slurs mixed with love poems. Alan attended the opening, proud in a button-down that hugged his frame, whispering, "This is genius, Leo. You're changing the game." Critics buzzed. A curator from MoMA even stopped by, but triumph soured when I overheard two attendees. Bold, but so on the nose. Like, "We get it, trauma porn." Alan defended me fiercely. "It's raw, real. That's the point." But their words echoed my fears. Was I exploiting pain for art? For applause? That night, high on validation and red wine, we celebrated on our roof. Stars pricking the smoggy sky. City lights a glittering sea below. Alan proposed a toast. To us. To not giving a fuck. We made love under the open air. Slow and sacred. His whispers of forever blending with distant horns. But forever's a luxury. Alan's dad called the next week. Voice steal through the speaker. "Son, this Jake nonsense, it's everywhere. Families hearing things. Fix it." Alan hung up mid-rant. Face ashen. "He wants me home. To talk sense into me." "Don't go," I pleaded. But he was already packing a duffel. "Just a weekend. Clear the air." Philly swallowed him. 2 days stretching eternal. Texts came sporadic. "Miss you." Families tense. Then radio silence. Paranoia gnawed. Visions of him crumbling under pressure. Slipping back into the closet's maw. When he returned Sunday night, eyes hollow, I pounced. "What happened?" He collapsed onto the bed, head in hands. Dinner was a minefield. Ma cried. Dad quoted Bible verses. Jake called, apologized in person, but he brought Sarah. Said we should double date to throw him off. Rage boiled. "And you let him?" "I didn't," Alan snapped, standing. "But they cornered me. Said if I don't play along, I'm cut off. Job leads. The house down payment gone. So I'm the price?" My voice shattered. "Our love's a bargaining chip?" "No, God. Leo. It's not." He reached, but I jerked away. "Then prove it. Tell them to fuck off. For real this time." He deflated, whispering, "I need time, time." The word was a guillotine. That week, distance grew. Alan's shifts endless. My studio hours a refuge. We moved like ghosts, polite but hollow, touches tentative as first snowflakes. The breaking point hit mid-May, heat wave turning the apartment into a sauna. I came home early, sweat-soaked from a run, to find Alan on the couch with Jake. Jake, smirking like he'd won the lottery. Beers in hand, some game on TV, but the vibe was conspiracy thick. "What the hell?" I demanded, bag hitting the floor. Jake stood, all faux charm. "Just checking on my boy. No hard feelings." Alan wouldn't meet my eyes. He swung by. Wanted to apologize proper. "With lies," I hurled. "Or is this the double date pitch?" Jake chuckled. Low. "Leo's feisty." "Oh, you sure about?" "Get out," Alan growled, finally rising. Jake left with a shrug, door clicking ominous. Alone, the air crackled. Why him? Now? He's trying to help, Alan insisted. Said he talked to my dad, smoothed things. Said it was a joke. A joke. I laughed bitter. Us? Our lives. It's complicated. Leo, you don't get the pressure, the family empire, the expectations. And you don't get mine, I shouted. Growing up queer in a house where God's wrath is dinner conversation. But I chose you anyway. He flinched, tears welling. I love you. But I can't lose everything. The chasm yawned. Then don't. Or do. But choose. He chose silence, storming to the bedroom. I slept on the couch that night, the fan's whine mocking my sobs. Morning brought truces, coffee, awkward hugs, but the fracture deepened, fault lines mapping our hearts. Summer solstice party at a friend's loft, rooftop, fairy lights, bass thumping like a pulse. We went to reclaim normalcy, hands linked defiant. But Jake was there, orbiting like a shark, pulling Alan aside for a word. I watched from afar, dread mounting as their heads bent close. Alan's nod reluctant. He returned flushed, evasive. Nothing. Old news. But later, buzzed on sangria, I confronted. What did he say? Alan sighed. That dad's offering the down payment if I straighten up. Date Sarah. Make it right. The world tilted. And I told him no, but his eyes darted, lying by omission. Betrayal crested then, wave crashing. You're going to do it, aren't you? Play house to buy your freedom. Leo, fuck you. I walked away, into the night, subway lights blurring through tears. He didn't follow. Back home, alone in the swelter, I packed a bag, essentials, sketches, the cyclone bear mocking from the shelf. A note, choose yourself. I'll choose me. Door shut soft, heart in shards. I vanished into the city's maw, wondering if love was just another New York myth. The subway rattled me to my cousin Maria's in Astoria, a spare futon in her walk-up becoming my temporary exile. Leo, what happened? She fretted, pressing Eras con pollo into my hands, her toddler tugging at my jeans like an anchor. I spun a half-truth, work stress, roommate drama because spilling the full Alan saga felt like exhuming a corpse. Nights, I'd stare at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, replaying our end. His silence, Jake's smirk, the way love curdled into cowardice. Mornings brought freelance gigs, logo tweaks for startups. Each pixel a bandage over the bleed. Alan texted once, please come home. We can fix this. I deleted it, then the thread, blocking the number with a finality that tasted like ash. But grief doesn't block easy. It seeps, staining everything. Maria dragged me to therapy, a queer center in Jackson Heights, where the counselor's nod was permission to unravel. Betrayal's a theft, she said, voice steady as a metronome. He stole your trust. Reclaim it, for you. Reclaiming meant art. I poured into a new series, shattered glass mosaics, refracting city lights into rainbows fractured by shadow. A pop-up in Williamsburg scooped it. Queer Fractures, Urban Heartbreak. The title a gut-punch title drop. Opening night, the space hummed, queer kids with blue hair, activists in pins, collectors sipping cheap wine. I mingled numb, compliments glancing off like rain on oilskin, until a familiar voice sliced through. This is incredible. Leo, Alan. Suited up, hair tamed, eyes haunted. Flanked by his dad silver-haired, suit crisp as a sermon, and a woman I assumed was Sarah, elegant in pearls, her smile polished doubt. My blood iced. "What are you doing here?" "Saw the listing. Had to see." His gaze pleaded, devouring the pieces, our pieces, abstracted into shards. His dad extended a hand, grip firm. "Mr. Ramirez?" "Alan speaks highly. Beautiful work. Reminds me of stained glass in the old church back home." I shook it wooden, words trapped. Sarah cooed over a piece. "So emotional." "What's it about?" "You." I wanted to scream. "The man beside you who broke me." Alan pulled me aside, voice low. "Leo, please. Hear me out. Now, with them." Fury sparked. "This your idea of straightening up?" He winced. "No, Dad insisted on meeting you. As my friend. Sarah's just a colleague. It's PR. Lies on lies." I backed away, crowd swallowing me. But he followed to the alley out back, air thick with dumpster rot and distant traffic. "I'm sorry," he choked, tears tracking clean lines down stubbled cheeks. I panicked. After the party, Jake convinced me, a few dates, fake it, keep the peace. But I couldn't. Broke it off night one. Told Dad everything. He's trying. Trying. I laughed hollow. By parading her here? To show I'm serious. About us. About fighting for this. He stepped closer, scent of cedar and desperation enveloping. "I love you, Leo. Always have. Let me prove it." My resolve cracked. Just a hair. "How?" "Dinner. Just us. Tomorrow." Neutral ground. I nodded, against every screaming instinct. "One chance. Alan. Don't fuck it up." The restaurant was a hole-in-the-wall Italian in Carroll Gardens. Candlelight flickering over checkered cloths. The air redolent of garlic and possibility. Alan arrived early. Table set with my favorite bruschetta. Chianti breathing. No Jake. No family. Just him. Vulnerable in a Henley that hugged his frame. I searching mine like lost keys. We talked halting, his therapy breakthroughs. The family blowout where Dad finally cracked. Admitting his own buried pains. My exhibits buzz. A solo show offer from a Chelsea gallerist. Laughter crept in. Tentative. Then real, remembering Coney Island. The fire escape beers. "I was a coward," he admitted over tiramisu. Fork abandoned. "Scared of the labels. The loss. But losing you? That's hell." I reached across, lacing fingers. "It was. Still is." He squeezed, thumb stroking my knuckle. "Then let's build back. Slow. Real." We did. Dates bloomed. Picnics in the park. His hand in mine open now. Gallery crawls where he'd feign expertise, making me snort. Sex reignited spark. Tender explorations in daylight. No shadows. Alan came out fully, posts on Insta. Pride flag pin on his hard hat. His crew thinned. But the loyal stuck. 2 guys even showed at my next show. Awkward but earnest. Summer peaked in a heat dome. City asphalt shimmering. But our rhythm cooled the burn. One August night. Rooftop barbecue with Maria and her crew. Queer fam. All vibes and vegan skewers. Alan fit seamless. Grilling with flair. Stealing kisses that drew whoops. Later. Fireworks over the East River. His arm around me. Whispering, "This is home." Yet conflict loomed. inevitable as thunderheads. Labor Day weekend. His family reunion in the Poconos, lakeside cabin. Aunts with jello salads. Cousins cannonballing. Come, he urged. Meet em proper. Terror gripped. What if they hate me? Then we leave. Together, I went. The drive was tense. Classic rock on low. His hand on my thigh a talisman. Arrival. Scrutiny sharp as switchblades. Uncles sizing me up. Aunts cooing polite. Dinner was trial by small talk, my art. His city adventures. Then Dad pulled Alan aside. Voices low but audible. This the one? Serious. Alan. Dead serious. Dad. Love him. A pause. Then, all right. But family's family. Relief flooded. But nightfall brought the storm. Around the fire pit. Beers cracking. Toe-like figures grilled Alan. So, Leo artist. Huh? Pays the bills. Laughter edged cruel. Baiting. One cousin. Buzzed. Slurred. Al always was the wild one. Remember that phase with the theater kid? Alan's face tightened. Drop it. Mike. But Mike pressed. Nah. Just saying city changes people. You sure this ain't temporary? I froze. Old wounds ripping. Alan stood. Voice steel. It's real. More than you'll ever know. And if you can't handle it, hit the road. Silence blanketed. Sparks popping accusatory. Mike mumbled sorry, but the night soured. In our borrowed room, Alan paced. Fury electric. Assholes. All of them. Not all, I soothed, pulling him down. Your dad's trying. That's something. He deflated into me, lips finding mine urgent. You're something. My everything. Passion crested. Bodies arching in the moonlit dark. Reclaiming agency. But dawn brought reckoning. Dad knocking soft. Coffee in hand. Talk. To me. Alone. On the porch. Mist rising off the lake. He cleared his throat. Alan's like a son to me. Stubborn as hell. This. You. Is hard. Bible says one thing. Heart another. But I see how he lights up. Don't hurt him, son. Or I'll bury you in the woods. Humor edged his threat. An olive branch crooked but extended. Deal, I said, shaking his calloused hand. The weekend mended. Fragile barbecues with sidelong glances. But no more barbs. Driving home, Alan grinned. Survived. We survived. Fall whispered in. Leaves turning crimson as our resolve. Alan's promotion foreman now. Sight in Tribeca. Meant stability. Talks of a bigger place. Maybe Harlem. My solo show landed. Reviews in the Times calling it a poignant queer odyssey. Life aligned. Stars winking approval. But betrayal's echo lingers. One crisp October eve. Post-opening bash. Alan's phone chirped. A text from Sarah. Congrats on the show. Drinks to celebrate? For old times. Harmless? Or hook? He showed me. Deleting it. Water under the bridge. I believed him. Mostly. Thanksgiving redux. Queens this time. Full disclosure. Mommy's eyes widened at our linked hands. Abuela crossing herself. But Tia Sophia hugged first. Amor yes amor. Mijo. Tears flowed. Toasts clinked. Turkey carved with grace. Alan charmed. Mangling Spanish but earnest. And as pie steamed, Dad called, his voice on speaker. Gruff. Pass the phone. Son. To me. Keep him in line. And welcome. Triumph swelled. But hubris invites fall. December deep freeze. A nor'easter blanketing the city white. Stranded indoors. We binged classics when Harry met Sally. Ironic laughs. But Alan grew distant, staring out at the flurry. What's eating you? Prodded, pausing the flick. He turned. Eyes stormy. Jake's back in town. Wants to sit down. Says he has dirt. Something from Philly that'll tank my promotion if it leaks. My blood chilled. Dirt? Old shit. A hookup. Back in college. With a guy. He recorded it, drunk idiot move. Threatening to send it to my boss unless I play nice. Rage. Then ice. And nice means what? Deny us. Publicly. Say you're just a friend. The room spun. After everything? You're considering. No. He grabbed my arms. Desperate. I'm telling you so we face it together. Fuck him. We'll go to the cops. HR whatever. But doubt slithered. Was this the out he'd craved? The easy erase? Climax brewed. Jake's meet. A midtown bar. Snow swirling outside. I insisted on coming. Hidden in the booth behind. Alan confronted. Voice low thunder. Delete it. Or I report your ass for blackmail. Jake sneered. Phone glinting. One call. Your career poof. And Leo? Front page queer sob story. Alan lunged. Fists clenched. But I burst in then. Heart pounding. Touch that send. And you're done. We have witnesses. Logs. Everything. Jake paled. Bravado cracking. You. Me. Alan's arm around me. United. And us. He folded. Deleting on the spot. Slinking into the storm. Victory tasted metallic. Adrenaline crashing into exhaustion. Home. We thawed in the tub. Bubbles foaming like relief. We're unbreakable, Alan murmured. Lips on my temple. But breaks heel crooked. New Year's approached. City primed for rebirth. But Jake's shadow loomed. Whispers at Alan's sight. Sidelong looks. Promotion held. But tension coiled. Then, the gut punch. Valentine's. Roses wilting on our table. Alan late. He stumbled in. Eyes wild. Clutching a letter. Dad's sick. Heart thing. Needs surgery. Wants me there now. Family. The ultimate pull. Go, I said, masking fear. I'll hold the fort. Philly again. But this time, goodbye lingered in his kiss. Days stretched. Texts loving but sparse. Then, a call. His voice wrecked. Leo. Dad's stable. But he asked about the future. The will. Conditions. Conditions. If I don't settle down proper. With a family. Kids, he cuts me out. The house. Savings gone. Silence roared. And you? I don't know. The admission shattered. I love you. But he's dying. Leo. What do I do? Betrayal's final twist. Not Jake's. But Blood's. Choose. I whispered. Echoing our old refrain. Click. Line dead. He didn't call back. I packed again. Heart a lead weight. Subway to Maria's once more. The city blurred. Indifferent. Winter's grip tightened. January's bite seeping through Astoria's thin walls. Mirroring the frost in my veins. Maria's futon became mausoleum, days dissolving into sketches, dark now, voids swallowing figures mid-embrace. Alan's silence was eloquence. No pleas, no fights, just absence carving hollows. I unblocked his number once, scrolled voicemails, his laugh on an old clip, gut-wrenching, then purged it all. Survival meant severance. The gallerist pushed my show forward. February. Prime slot. Capitalize on the buzz, she urged, oblivious to my unraveling. I channeled it, installations of empty suits on hangers, labels peeling, husband material, family man, threads snapping under weight. Critics called it visceral, patrons wept, but each sale felt like selling shards of soul. Opening night, snow dusting the streets. I stood in a borrowed blazer, champagne flute trembling. The crowd swirled. Artists, influencers, a rainbow coalition of survivors. Then, him, Alan, alone, coat dusted white, eyes scanning desperate until locking on mine. He approached slow, as if I might vanish. Leo, voice rough, like he'd smoked a pack of regrets. Congrats, I said, clipped, nodding to the room. Heard about your dad. Glad he's okay, he swallowed. Thanks. Show's stunning. Hurts to see, but yeah, pause, heavy. Can we talk? Please. Outside, flakes swirling like confetti for a funeral. We huddled under the awning. I chose wrong, he started, breath fogging. Dad pulled through miracle, Doc said. Made me see money's chains, not freedom. I told him us or nothing. He backed off, grudging. But I lost you anyway. My chest ached, traitor heart leaping. Why now? Because I was blind. Scared of the mess, family, friends, future. But life's the mess. You taught me that. Tears cut tracks down his cheeks, illuminated by street lamp glow. I love you, Leo Ramirez. Queer, artist, pain in my ass New Yorker. Marry me, or at least try again. The question hung, a bridge over abyss. I searched his face, vulnerable, open. The boy from the doorway evolved. I don't know, I whispered honest. Trust's a rebuild. Then let's build. He pulled a ring from his pocket, simple band. Tungsten etched with Brooklyn Bridge silhouette. No pressure. Just a promise. I slipped it on. Tentative. The weight grounding. Slow, I stipulated. And all in. All in. Reunion was cautious. Back to Bushwick. Boxes of his stuff returned. Mine unpacked. Nights started awkward, separate beds. Talks over tea dissecting wounds. Therapy tandem now. A couple's group in the village where stories echoed ours. Betrayals mended. Loves reclaimed. Alan opened fully, letters to his dad. Boundaries drawn. I shared sketches. Vulnerabilities bared. Spring green tentative. Cherry blossoms a second chance. We dated anew. Ferry rides to Staten Island. His head on my shoulder against the spray. Cooking classes where he burned the paella. Laughing till we cried. Sex rekindled gentle, rediscoveries. Whispers of mine like sacraments. Conflict lingered. Humanistic in its grit. Jake resurfaced, apology email. Therapy mumbled. I was scared too. Lost my brother to AIDS young. Lashed out. Alan forgave. Cautious. I watched. Learning Grace's sharp edge. Family fused slow. Mommy inviting him for posadas, his folks hosting a awkward but earnest seder. Abuela slipped me a rosary once. For protection, Mijo. Love's the real miracle. Climax crested Memorial Day. A block party in Bushwick food trucks. Drag queens lip-syncing Gaga. The neighborhood's pulse-thumping. Alan proposed proper then. On one knee amid the throng. Ring glinting under string lights. Leo, you're my city, my storm, my home. Marry me, cheers erupted. Strangers hugging. My yes drowned in whoops. But later, alone on our stoop, doubts surfaced. What if it breaks again? He cupped my face. Steady. Then we glue it stronger. Kintsugi gold in the cracks. Summer solstice marked a year since the catch. Full circle. We honeymooned local, road trip upstate. Alan's dream cabin rented. Lake lapping lazy. Days swam. Nights loved fierce under stars unpolluted. One evening, fire crackling, he confessed, that first night, catching you. It woke something. Desire I'd buried. You saved me, Leo. You saved yourself, I countered, lacing fingers. We both did. Fall brought harvest. My first museum placement, his crew expanding queer hires, ally trainings. Wedding plans wove simple city hall, rooftop reception, families mingling under harvest moon. Vows exchanged crisp October air. In mess and miracle, I choose you. Winter's end. Vows tested gentle. Dad's checkup clean. Mommy's cancer scare benign, reminders of fragility. We volunteered then, at the center mentoring kids with our scars turned stories. One boy, wide-eyed. How'd you know it gets better? Alan's arm around me. Because we made it so. New Year's. Ball dropping. We toasted on our new balcony. Harlem view. Skyline winking. To more, he murmured. Kiss ceiling. Life's no fairy tale. Arguments flare. His socks on the floor. My late nights. Doubts whisper on bad days. But betrayal's ghost? Exorcised in choices daily. His hand in mine at the bodega. My sketches of us framed proud. Humanistic arc. Not perfection, but persistence. Love as verb. Messy and American. Forged in subways and storms. Blooming defiant. And in quiet moments, rain pattering the window like that first night, I catch him watching, curious, adoring. What? I tease. You, he says simple. All of you. Home. Finally.